Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is Spiguyver Backpacking. This channel is all about backpacking, hiking, camping, that type of stuff. I do a lot of gear reviews, I do a lot of hammock stuff. If you guys are interested in any of that, please go down below, hit that subscribe button. Right next to it there's a little bell icon and you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Today, what are we talking about? Well, coffee, one of my absolute favorite subjects. Over the last year and a half, have really become addicted to and into really good coffee. So I like the specialty coffees, the Ethiopians, a lot of single origin stuff really appeals to me. But what we're actually talking about today is the Aeropress, and more specifically, the new Aeropress Go. I received it just recently, and so it's time for me to talk with you about it. Now, I've watched a lot of videos. Since I didn't have mine for a while and other people did, I was watching their videos and hearing what they said and hearing what they were talking about. And so I kind of want to talk about some of the things that have come up, things people liked and didn't like about the Aeropress Go, and give you my opinion. More specifically about backpacking with the Aeropress versus the Aeropress Go. So let's do this. Let's go. All right, so here's what I've got out here with me today. I have the new Aeropress Go, which is kind of a self-contained unit if you want it to be. I've got my normal Aeropress, just the Aeropress itself, no scoop, no stir, nothing, just this. This is what I would take backpacking. Toke's 550 mug pot. I've got the MSP core alcohol stove. This one is one that burns hot and fast, so I like that. For a windscreen, I've got the Zelf ultralight cone, and that works with this pot like that. I've got some heat. These are Costa Rican beans from Coastal Coffee Roasters. Absolutely my favorite coffee roaster. And I've got my 1Z grinder. This is a manual hand grinder. What's awesome about this one, you can see how easily that spins around. This has bearings both on the top and the bottom, and it has a 46 millimeter burr, and so it grinds quick and it is extremely consistent. And I'm going to show you guys a little tip for doing any manual grinding to avoid one of the big problems that people have, which is the static. And you can use this on an electric grinder as well, but I'll show you exactly what I do to keep the static down to a minimum today. So I've got the scale so we can weigh things out and talk about the weights, because that's one of the things, that's one of the concerns. People have talked about some of the weights, and I kind of disagree with the weights because I don't think you would use it as a backpacker the way that it was intended to be used. So we'll talk about that. We'll go through it and see if I'm crazy. So why don't I get some water on, get that going, and then we'll come back and talk. So what I've got right here is an absolutely perfect cup of coffee. It is an Aeropress cup of coffee, which if you watched my coffee video series, it is, as much as I was reluctant to say it, it's my favorite brewing method right now. I use my regular Aeropress daily to make coffee before going to work, and now I have the Aeropress Go. Brews exactly the same. If you can make a good cup of coffee with your Aeropress, you can make the same cup of coffee with the Aeropress Go. Now there are some slight differences between the two. The size is a little bit different, and the top size. So with the Aeropress itself, with my 550 mug, it sits on top and I don't have to worry about it. I can press down, no problem. With the Go, it doesn't fit. it slides inside. And so what I do is I put two sides on like that, over to the side, hold it, and then press down. And it may slip a little bit, but I haven't had it go in, and I haven't had any problems with it, and it still makes the same cup of coffee. One of the things about the Aeropress Go is it's not just the cylinder. So comparing the two, you've got the Aeropress Go over here, you've got the Aeropress here. You can see height-wise, there's a little bit of a difference there. Dimension-wise, it's exactly the same. I could take the top off of this one, switch them around. They both fit, which means the filters are going to be exactly the same. No problem with that whatsoever. Exactly the same filters you use at home with the Aeropress, you can take on the trail with the Aeropress Go, or wherever you want to take the Aeropress Go. Now the Aeropress Go comes with more pieces. It comes as a kit. As I showed before, it all fits down into this mug. So that's the deal. It comes with this mug with this silicone top that can go on there. It also has the folding stirrer and a scoop. Well, I measure out my coffee. I know about how much goes in my grinder. I know about how full I put it into the Aeropress. So I don't really use the scoop. When I'm out on the trail, I don't need a stirrer because I've already got some sort of spoon or eating utensil with me, or a stick. You know, if I pick up this stick right here, break it, I could use that to stir my coffee. Let's see, what else? Well, the mug. As you can see, I prepared my water and then did it in the same pot mug that I use. So this, not necessary. So that's where I kind of have the problem with some of the reviews. So people weigh the Aeropress just like this, and they say, hey, it weighs this much. But the Aeropress Go, with all the accessories, they weigh all of this together, and they say, oh, it's heavier than the Aeropress. Well, how about we compare just the working pieces to each other and see what that is? Because I think that's the real comparison. Okay, so the comparison, if you weigh both of them, you've got 178 grams for the original Aeropress, and you've got 158 grams with the Go. So it's actually lighter. If you weigh everything, yes, it's going to be heavier. But do you need a mug? I can honestly tell you that this mug is heavier than my GSI Infinity mug, so I would rather have that, which is insulated, than this, and it has a lid. But most of the time, I'm just using my pot, and it works just fine. Yes, the Aeropress fits on it better, but I can still do it with no problem with the Aeropress Go. So saving 20 grams, but that's not it. That's not the only piece that I like about it. It is smaller, so it's more compact, fits in there. So people were talking about the amount of coffee you can make with them. The deal is, you can make a very concentrated cup of coffee and then dilute it down with water. So the numbers on here, if you were to, and I do it inverted. So that's another piece that you've got to know, is I do it inverted, which is this method where I put the coffee in the top, brew in the chamber, then flip it over and do it. If you are one of the people that does it this way, and you put the coffee in here and then put this in, you're gonna need a cooking vessel to do the water and a mug to put it in. But if you do it inverted, you can do away with the second piece and just do one. So these numbers actually correspond with cups of coffee. So you could actually make 3 cups of coffee by putting in enough of the grounds to get up to the number 3. So it's a 16-to-1 ratio, so 16 grams, 256 grams of water is what the brew should be. If you want to, you could then instead double the amount of coffee that you put in here, keep the water the same, and then dilute it afterwards and make 2 cups in order to share. You could also do it with 3 cups. So the argument that you can't do multiple cups of coffee in this is not exactly true. You can do it with both of them, and that's why the numbers are on the side of them. So far, really like it. Won't be taking this stuff with me. This is just extra weight that I don't need because I already have that stuff in my cook kit. Now, as you saw when I was making up the cup of coffee, because of the wetting of the grounds, or of the beans, when the grounds come out, everything is nice and clean. A little bit of coffee in there, but not much at all. And then even on the burrs down at the bottom right there, you can see not a whole lot there. If you don't do that, I can tell you right now, a lot of the coffee, you have to really tap it hard to get it out. It'll be stuck all around the sides. That fur area where I can adjust it will be caked in grounds. So just doing that little tip of putting a little bit of water in there really makes a difference. Well, guys, I am a huge fan of the Aeropress, and now the Aeropress Go. When I go backpacking, the Aeropress Go is now going to be my go-to for good coffee. Sure, there will still be those ultralight trips where I go with Instants, and Swift Cup will be my preferred on that one. But for a great cup of coffee on the trail, Aeropress Go is definitely the way to go. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you checking this out. I will see you guys down the trail.